everybody! I bet I know what you're thinking. Why does she have all of those stuffed animals on her? Well, I will answer your question. This week, we are going to be learning about different kinds of animals in our stories. So I brought our mouse, our elephant, some ladybugs, and one more. I don't even know where I put him, this other animal. Where could he? Now I see him. I brought an alligator with us as well. We are going to be learning about different groups of animals this week in our story. I cannot wait to get started learning about these animals with all of you guys. Okay, let's get started. So, to start off our video lesson, I wanted to introduce our new sight words for this week. So, I'm going to be doing this using our context cards. Now, we usually see these on the screen in our book, but today I'm going to show you from the card. Our first word we are going to be learning about is bird. Bird. This says, an eagle is a bird with big, strong wings. So, the word is bird. Bird. Our next word we are going to be going over is the word fly. Our sentence says, bats are mammals that are able to fly. Fly. Next, let's talk about the word both. Both. Our context card says, the lizard has both stripes and spots. Both. Our next sight word is the word long. Our sentence says, this kangaroo has a long tail. Long. The next word we are going to be talking about is the word eyes. Our sentence says, this dog has blue eyes. In the word eyes, it is spelled E-Y-E-S. The E-Y make the long I sound that says I, and the E-S makes the Z sound. So when you put it together, you get eyes. Eyes. Next, we have the word oar. Our sentence says, ducks can either swim or fly. The word is oar. The next word we have is the word those. Our sentence says, those fish are not the same colors. Those. The E is silent, so we do not hear it. We just hear those. Those. And last we have the word walk. Our sentence says, the elephants walk together in a group. Walk. The A in the word walk makes the sound. So we hear walk. Before we begin reading our story, Animal Groups, we are going to talk about one of our target skills for this week. Our target skill for this week is compare and contrast. When you compare, tell how things are alike. When you contrast, tell how things are different. Think about how things are alike and different to understand a selection better. You can use a diagram to compare and contrast two things. This is called a Venn diagram. you see how it is two circles put together that overlap in the middle. It says reptiles, both amphibians. So in this circle, you would write about reptiles. In this circle, you would write about amphibians. And in the middle, you would write about things that both of them have in common. This week, we will be making one of these on the board. We are also going to be talking about monitor and clarify. If a word or a part does not make sense, you can ask questions, reread, or use pictures for help. Our story, Animal Groups, is an informational text. That means in our story, we are going to learn true facts and see real pictures of animals. Our essential question is, what makes birds different from mammals? What makes birds different from mammals? So that is our question we are wanting to answer after we read our story, Animal Groups. So let's get started. Let's take a look at 5 animal groups. How are animals in a group the same? Let's look at our labels that are on our page. We see the 5 animal groups. The first is fish, reptile, amphibian, bird, and mammal. So those are the 5 animal groups. How are animals in a group the same? Let's think. All of the animals in the bird group will most likely have wings, feathers, and beak. All animals in the fish group most likely will have gills, fins, and can swim. So, all of the animals in each of their groups share the same characteristics, whether they look alike, have the same kind of bodies, or do the same things, or they all live the same way. Fish must live in water. Fish have gills that help them breathe in water. Fish have fins and tails. Those help them swim. Do you know what kind of fish is on this page? This is a clownfish. You may recognize him from the movie Finding Nemo or Finding Dory. Nemo and his dad are both these kinds of fish, clownfish. We see that this fish has a lot of labels on them. The first we see the fin, which helps the fish swim. Then we see their eye and mouth, which they use to see and eat. Their gills help them breathe underwater, and their other fin helps them swim. Last, they have a tail. The tails and the fin are important to help the fish swim and get around. Fish can be many shapes and sizes. Can you find a fish in this picture? Do you see the fish in this picture? There they are. There's its mouth, eye, and fins. What are some ways that fish can be different from another? Does this fish we see here on this page look like this fish? What do you think? No, those fish look very, very different. So fish can be many different shapes and sizes. Reptiles can live on land. Some like to be in water. Reptiles have scales on their skin. Ooh, scary looking. So this is a reptile. A good example of a reptile is this alligator here. And then it has a lot of labels. We see the scales, and it shows an up-close picture of the scales. So that's what covers the alligator's body. Then we see their tail, their eye, and their legs. How do you think this alligator skin would feel if you were to touch it? What do you think the scales would feel like? They would probably feel rough and bumpy. Many reptiles hatch from eggs. Snakes cannot walk. They do not have legs. This snake slides its long body on the grass. What do we see in this picture at the top? We see an egg and something inside of it. This is a baby turtle hatching from its egg. In the big picture, we see a full-grown turtle swimming in the water. How are these alike? How is the baby turtle and the adult turtle alike? Well, they are both turtles. And one day, the baby turtle will swim just like this big turtle here. We then read about the snake who cannot walk. They have to slide their long bodies. What is different about how turtles and snakes move? Well, turtles can swim and walk on land. Snakes cannot walk on land. Turtles have these little legs, so that's how they are able to walk up onto land. They also have hard shells to protect themselves. Amphibians spend time both on land and in water. They do not have scales. Their skin is wet. Amphibians hatch from eggs. Tadpoles hatch and grow to be frogs. Here we have some labels on the frog. We see eye, they have wet skin, and legs. Here we see tadpoles. What text evidence from the story helps us understand what tadpoles are? It says tadpoles will hatch and grow to be frogs. So these are tiny, tiny frogs. Starting out, they are called tadpoles. Birds. A bird has feathers and wings. This bird's eyes are on the sides of its face. Many birds can fly. Some can run or swim fast. The label shows its eyes, which are on the side of its face, its bill, which is right above its mouth, their wings so that they can fly, and their feathers. How do you think birds are the same as amphibians? What do birds and amphibians have in common? Birds, amphibians. Both birds and amphibians have eyes, mouths, and legs. They are also both kinds of animals. How do you think birds are different from amphibians? How are birds different? Birds are different because birds have wings. They also have 2 legs and not 4. Birds hatch from eggs. This hen made a nest for its eggs. Mammals. Mammals can be many shapes and sizes. They have hair on their skin. Then we see some labels. We see an eye, hair, legs, and a tail. What kind of animals do you think we will see in the group mammals? We see a picture of a lion, so we know that a lion is a mammal. Do you have any other guesses what kind of other animals we'll see? A mammal mom can make milk for its baby. So we see a panda bear and her cub. So we know that lions are mammals and also pandas. So we know that mammals have hair on their skin, can make milk for their babies, and can be many different shapes and sizes. Lots of mammals live on land, but some live in water. So we see a raccoon and some otters. They are also mammals. Did you know that you are a mammal too? So just like the lions and raccoons and sea otters, people are mammals too. We have hair on our skin, just some light fuzzy hair. Like if you look at your arm, you can see you have some small hair. Mammals can make milk for their babies, and we all come in different shapes and sizes. This morning in our phonics lesson, we talked about the long I. Do you remember what sound the long I makes? The short I says it. The long I says I. It says its name. We are going to read our decodable, and as we're reading, I want you to listen for words that have the long I in them. Our decodable today is called Mike's Bike by Claire Coolidge and illustrated by Jill Dublin. Listen to the title of our story, Mike's Bikes. Do either of those words have the long I in them? Mike's Bikes. Both words have the long I in them. Ike. B-ike. That is a perfect example of words that will sound like that when they have the long I. So let's get started reading. Mike's Bikes. Mike's new bike is red and white. Mike just got it. Mike can ride it well. Mike rides his bike with pride. Wow, so just on that first page, I heard a lot of words that have the long I sound in them. We know the word Mike and bike have the long I. Did you hear any other words that have the long I? I see 3 more. Do you see any of them? In the word white, w-ite, we hear the long I. Also where it says Mike can ride. The word ride also has the long I. R-I-D. And I see one more. I'll give you a hint. It's in the last sentence on the page. We know the words ride and bike have it, but also the word pride. Pride. Let's see if we can find some more. Mike will ride his bike to see Nell. His dad will ride with him. Nell will like Mike's bike. Nell's bike is red and white too. So we see that Mike and his dad are wearing some new gear on their heads. What are they wearing and why? What do you think? So Mike and his dad are both wearing helmets. This reminds me of a safety rule, like how we talked about rules last week. When you're riding your bike or skateboard or scooter, it's so important to always wear a helmet. Why do you think it's important to wear a helmet? Well, if somehow you fall off of what you're riding, you can land on the ground and hit your head really hard, which can be very dangerous. If you're wearing a helmet, it will help cushion your fall and protect your head. Nell did like Mike's bike. I like its white stripes. Mine has red stripes. Both bikes have stripes, Nell said. So when we see Nell and Mike's bikes, she is comparing them. She is saying they both have bikes with stripes. We can also see that both bikes are red and white, or have white and red on them. On this page, we see another word that has the long I in it. Did you notice it? In the sentence, I like its white stripes. In the word stripes, we hear the long I. Mike, Dad, and Nell take a ride. This bike path is fun. I like it, said Mike. It is nice to ride on. I like it too, said Nell. Two words on this page that also have the long I are the words like, and nice, nice. You can hear how the long A says its name even when it's put into a word. Ice, nice, like. Dad, Nell, and Mike ride for 5 or 6 miles. It is a long ride. This is the end, said Nell. It is time to go back. Wow, so they rode their bikes for 5 or 6 miles. That is a long bike ride. In the word 5, which is one of our sight words from last week, we hear the long I. I've. We also hear it in the word time. I'm. We can hear the long I. They stop at Nell's place. That was fun, Mike, said Nell. Mike had a big, wide grin on his face. Best time of my life, said Mike. What a fun story for us to read, to get to practice saying words with the long I sound. Now let's complete an activity in our reader's notebook together. To end our reading video today, we are going to complete a words to know, also known as our sight words, activity. Our directions tell us to circle the correct word to complete each sentence. So you guys have been getting really good at these. So what we're going to do, we're going to read the sentence together. There are 2 words in the parenthesis, and you are going to circle the word that best completes the sentence. Are you ready? We are on page 211 if you're not already there. So if you need to pause the video to get out your notebook or flip to that page, you can go ahead and pause it. Okay, you guys, so let's get started. Number 1 says, Lan goes for a blank in the park. The 2 words are walk, bird. So which word fits best? Lan goes for a walk in the park. Lan goes for a bird in the park. Circle which word best completes the sentence for number 1. Number 2 says, it is a very blank path. The words are both, long. So what would you say? It is a very both path. It is a very long path. Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 2. On number 3, it says, Lan sees a blank in its nest. The two words are oar and bird. Which word would fit best? Land sees a oar in its nest. Land sees a bird in its nest. Circle the word that best completes the sentence on number 3. Sentence number 4 says, will it blank away when it sees her? The two words are fly, long. Would we say, will it fly away when it sees her? Or will it long away when it sees her? Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 4. Number 5 says, 2 ducks in the lake are blank wet. The two words are bird, both. Would we say 2 ducks in the lake are bird wet? Or 2 ducks in the lake are both wet? Circle the word that best completes the sentence on number 5. Number 6 says, their blank are black. The two words are eyes, walk. Would we say their eyes are black? Or their walk are black? Circle the word that best completes the sentence on number 6. Number 7. Lan likes to watch blank ducks. The words are those eyes. Would we say Lan likes to watch those ducks? Or Lan likes to watch eyes ducks? Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 7. And for our last sentence on number 8, it says, Lan has to go now, blank, she will be late. The two words are fly, or. Would we say, Lan has to go now, fly, she will be late? Or would we say, Lan has to go now, or she will be late? Circle the word that best completes the sentence for number 8. All right, we have gone through all 8 of our sentences. Are you ready to check your answers? If not, you can go ahead and pause the video to finish up. But if you're ready to go over your answers, then let's go ahead and get started. For number 1, we would say, Lan goes for a walk in the park. Lan goes for a walk in the park. Number 2, it is a very long path. It is a very long path. Number 3, Lan sees a, what did Lan see? A bird in its nest. And on number 4, what did you put? Will it fly away when it sees her? Number 5, 2 ducks in the lake are both. They are both wet. And what about number 6? What did you pick? Their eyes are black. Their eyes are black. And on number 7, Lan likes to watch those ducks. Lan likes to watch those ducks. And our last one, number 7. Lan has to go now, or she will be late. How did you do on this activity? Did you get all of them right? Some of them right? Awesome. That is going to be the end of our reading video today. Remember, if you're not in a live group, to be logging on to Imagine Learning and Imagine Math so that we can meet our class goal.